Unfortunately, Chrome has stopped. That's a notification just came across my screen. I've never had that notification before. And I'm talking to this on Messenger. I'm talking to this targeted person. Um, and their gang stalkers have been hacking their phones. And you know how I've been talking about this for years, how my gang stalkers do stuff to my devices. So I don't know. I think some of these gang stalkers get pissed when I'm telling their targeted person, the person that they target, um, how things work and what's going on. They don't like us networking like this. Um, I haven't really gotten any sleep today. If I don't get a little bit, it's going to be a rough night at work, but it is what it is. I guess, whatever. But, you know, let's talk about rooting cell phones and jailbreaks and stuff like that. So let me explain, because somebody just asked me, and I realized that a lot of things, people just hear terms and they don't really understand what they mean. So just for instance, you buy a phone at the store, at the T-Mobile or the Verizon or whatever, and you buy that phone, then that phone has the Android or iOS operating system on it, and you are a user on those devices. So it's the same with all operating systems and stuff like that. So you're just a user, and when you root your cell phone, you root your Android. That means that you've given yourself root access. Okay, so you went from a user to the admin, and now you have access to the root file system, which is all of the system files that makes the operating system work. So that's what you want. You want to be the admin. You want to be the admin of your phone. I got some squirrels trying to live in my gutters. Um, that's what you want. You want to be the root user. You want to be the admin over your device, and you want to be able to access your root file system. That way, when these gang stalkers try to get into your device, then you could see what they got going on. And if you've got root access to everything, they're probably going to abandon ship and not be on your device. And that's just one of the things that we have to learn. So same thing with jailbreak. Jailbreak is the same as root, but it's for Apple. Okay, and I guess it's not really the same as root. As far as I know, I don't really know. Okay, I'm not an expert, but I kind of know. So I don't think that Apple has a such thing with iPhones. For iOS, I don't think it has a such thing as root, but it may. It may have a such thing as like a root, but what they have is jailbreak, and then I think it's basically kind of like a new operating system, which is Cydia or something like that. But I mean, I've been on one before, but I've been unsuccessful at trying to figure out how to do it. But I haven't put a whole lot of effort into it, to be honest. Um, it's very difficult once you're already into this mess. Then they try to stop you from doing everything that you wanted to do, and they got all your devices hacked, and it's very difficult to do all of these things. I suggest using screen recorders or documenting everything, or just, if you have to, get a basic camera that don't even have any kind of internet service or anything, no Android or nothing, just a camera, and record your screen while you try to do things, and catch these people accessing your phone and stuff like that. But that's what we have to do. We have to learn how to be a master at the things that they're using against us and take that away from them. And that's how we're going to catch them, because getting into people's phones is about one of the dumbest things that they do, and getting onto people's accounts and getting into people's phones. So if we figure out how to master the APIs and how to master all of the developer side of like Facebook and Instagram, and use the SDKs, and figure out how somebody's integrating our accounts into some site or app with these APIs and SDKs or whatever, then if we could figure out how to do all of that stuff and become masters at that, and then figure out how to jailbreak and root phones and all of these things, if we can become masters at that, then that takes away all of the things that they use against us, other than the basic broadcast which they need some way to do all of that. I guess they'd have to do live streams and stuff on their own without doing it on. They use our own devices and our own internet services to do live streams of us, of them gang stalking us. So we need to become experts with our Wi-Fi networks. We need to learn how to use web-based interfaces and how to make sure that we're administrating our own services and how to understand the log files and we got to learn. This is what we have to learn. Okay, I've always said that there's two things that are very important, and one is hacking, and not necessarily hacking, but knowing, understanding all this stuff, being programmers, being good with computer languages, and understanding all of these operating systems and how to write code and what we're looking at when we try to read into some of this coding stuff. We need to understand it. And it's very important for us to be able to understand what we're looking at and know when they're doing something. And then the second thing is, aside from internet coding, hacking, or whatever, is to become photography experts and learn what kind of infrared or some kind of special spectrum, full spectrum cameras, or what kind of cameras show the broadcast, and how to use editing softwares and things like that to expose the broadcast. Because the broadcast is there. It's in our photos now. But my editing techniques and the photor that I'm using it's very limited to what I can do. And I've ran across, like, GIMP is a thing that I put on my Mac Pro. It's a command line program. You have to install it through the command line, and I think I found it on GitHub. And those are the best type of things, and those are the type of things that give you the capabilities to become far more advanced than these little apps we can get on our phone to expose certain spectrums and things like that. So if we learn how to do that, we may be able to read the links in the broadcast and see clearly the people that are broadcasting. So that's the second most important thing. But these are things that we have to do, and I challenge you guys to, pick a subject. We could all, like, pick a detail, a certain aspect of one thing. Like, somebody start working on jailbreak, and somebody start working on rooting androids, and somebody, we need to be on Android developers, and we need to be on Xcode and Android Studio and Apple developers, and we need to be on all of these things, and we need to be learning. I know it's hard. I know it seems difficult, and it's going to take time, and this is a process. But these people have been on my channel for 4 years, right? They've been on longer than that, but they've been talking to me out loud, gang stalking and torturing me for 4 years. So, and who knows how long before that they were on my channel, at least since 2013. Right, at least since then. So that's that's 5 years ago, 6 years ago. That's 6 years ago. So, and who knows? It may have been going on longer than that. I don't know. All right, I just know when I started to become targeted slightly in 14 and heavily in 15, and it ain't stopped since. And if the whole time I would have learned right from the beginning about how to be an Android developer and an Apple developer and learned how to code and everything else, if I'd have been doing that the whole time, right now I'd have my neural monitoring. And I'd probably be making about $150,000 a year at some web developing firm. Really? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? So, these are the important things, and we're smart people. That's why they love being connected to us. I'm not going to say we're just confused, but a lot of people are confused, okay? And personally, I'm just uneducated about how all of the hacking stuff works and everything. But as far as remote neural monitoring, EMF broadcast, I know what they do. I know what they do, how it makes them act, and how the mind control is, and what their tactics are, and what they do to people. And I've talked to people around the world every day. Every day I've talked to people around the world, all over the place, and I've talked to thousands of people. All right, I'm probably one of the biggest names involved with all of this stuff. And when people search for remote neural monitoring, EMF broadcast, any of that, they find me. So I've talked to all these people, And I understand how it works. And the people who are going through the full-blown thing, like artificial telepathy, EMF broadcast, getting gang stalked full-blown, like I am, they understand a lot too. And they know that I'm telling the truth. And you know, we're very concurrent uh, with with what we see happening and how this works. So, um, you know, then there's a lot of propaganda out there too, and that's what we gotta really watch out for. But we have to become unified, and we have to start learning. And maybe it'll take a year or 2 years, but they'll do this to us for 20 years. They'll do this to us till cancer eats our insides out from these microwave broadcasts, and they won't give no shits the whole time. Loving every bit of the torture and the ruining us and bullying people. I promise they will. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. So we got to start somewhere. I started at the end of last year. I went on. I took some little courses or whatever you want to call it. I learned HTML. I learned CSS, and I started to learn PHP. And I just got really busy with life, and I haven't revisited those subjects in a couple months. But that's that's where we need to be. We need to be on Android developers, Apple developers, um, Facebook developers, Instagram developers. We need to be on all of those. We need to be learning how to use APIs, SDKs, and learning all the tricks and watching all the tutorial videos from all of the different places online. If you need some direction, hit me up. All right, I know some really good resources. I know some really good resources, and you really need to start from the beginning. And we need to. This is the most important thing because these gang stalkers are stupid, right? They're not smart people, but they got all of the presets. They got all of the. Oh, let's run this little hacker program. They're not hackers. They're not hackers. They're just associated, right? So they run this little program. They get the directions right here. Run this top secret hacker program on their Wi-Fi, and then you guys can use it to do your live streams. Blah, blah. They're not hackers. They're morons. They're meth heads. They're just idiots. Uncle Incest idiots. These morons are not that smart. All right, but then they're messing up because they're all over our devices and they're all over our Wi-Fi's and everything else with account fraud and account theft, identity theft, and deleting people every day. Delete people off of my accounts every day. All of them. All of my accounts. All of them. They probably delete 100 people a day. At least 50. Because I got like 6 or 7 accounts that I keep up with for Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and they probably delete at least 50 people. There was a time when they were deleting probably 200 people a day, 300, when it was really blowing up, when I was posting a lot on Instagram. Now I probably only get like 20 a day on each account, but I was getting like 100 a day. I would get my notification. I have 129 followers. Right, when the number went down. That's the type of shit they do to me. Right, so there's got to be ways. They're doing it. They're doing it. So we can do it. We're smarter than them. All right. This is the most important thing, guys. Contact me. I'll give you some direction. We need to get together and start focusing on these things and really hold each other accountable and start to make a system of this works and this doesn't work and start to build our own, our own understanding and we just got to put this together. We got to put this together, okay? This is Kevin Christian, and y'all know how to get me.